the morning started quietly, with sunlight spilling through the windows of the small apartment. The CEO sat at the kitchen table sipping his coffee slowly while watching his twins, a boy and a girl, play on the living room floor. They were full of energy, laughing and talking to each other about imaginary worlds, completely unaware of the adult decisions and worries around them. He had always loved these early moments of the day, where nothing mattered except the small joys of life. Today, however, was different. Today was a blind date. A friend had insisted that he try it, saying that someone with his personality deserved a partner who could see him for who he really was, not for what he owned. He had agreed, but with one condition. He wanted to pretend to be ordinary, to hide the wealth and the status that people so often judged him by. He wanted to know if someone could genuinely connect with him without the influence of money or prestige. He looked at his twins, who were bouncing around excitedly, and decided they should come along. Not directly, of course, but close enough to observe interactions and give him a sense of the world through their innocence. They were small enough to be curious and sweet, and he knew their presence would add a lightness to the date. The twins loved being around new people, often surprising adults with their candidness and honesty. He dressed simply, avoiding his usual sharp suits. A plain shirt and jeans, something casual but neat. He didn't want the date to feel intimidating or forced. His friend had chosen a cozy little cafe downtown, a place that looked humble but had charm in its quiet corners, soft music, and the aroma of freshly baked bread. Perfect for a date where real conversation could happen. The twins were excited, chattering about the adventure. He reminded them to be polite and to help him make the date fun, not stressful. Their laughter filled the apartment as he walked them to the car. The morning traffic wasn't bad, and the ride gave them time to play simple games like spotting different colored cars or counting bicycles passing by. These moments, though small, made him feel grounded. Arriving at the cafe, they parked nearby and walked in. The place was already filling up with regular customers, some sitting alone with laptops, others chatting with friends over coffee. The smell of fresh pastries mixed with brewed coffee made the place inviting. They found a corner table where the twins could sit comfortably, and he could see the entrance at the same time. Being a CEO had taught him to notice details even in mundane settings. He glanced at his watch nervously, though he didn't want to admit it. It had been a long time since he had dated anyone seriously. Work had always come first, and while he had friends who tried to set him up in the past, none of it ever felt right. Today felt different. He was not just testing someone's reaction to money. He wanted to see if there was someone who could laugh at his quirks, share simple joys, and appreciate life without the glamour he usually surrounded himself with. The door opened, and she walked in. She had a warm presence, moving with confidence yet approachable. She didn't seem to notice the glances from other people, as if she existed in her own quiet space. He watched her, feeling a mixture of curiosity and nervousness. She spotted him and the twins, smiled, and approached with a friendly, easy demeanor. The twins waved, and she bent down slightly to greet them, her attention genuine, not forced. He introduced himself, using a name that wasn't his own, something plain and simple. He didn't want to reveal his identity yet. The twins introduced themselves too, talking about school, favorite cartoons, and the small adventures they had over the weekend. She listened with interest, asking questions, laughing at their stories, and even making playful comments that made them giggle. The CEO was relieved. She didn't act like she was trying too hard to impress. She was just herself, fully present and engaging. They ordered coffee and a few pastries. The menu was modest, nothing extravagant, which suited him perfectly. He and she talked about everyday things, work, hobbies, books they liked, funny moments from their past. The conversation flowed naturally, with occasional laughter and comfortable pauses. He noticed how she treated people around them too. She was polite to the server, kind to another customer who asked for directions, and patient when the twins asked endless questions. It was clear she had a heart that noticed and cared about small details, something rare and valuable in the world he usually moved in. The twins occasionally interrupted with silly questions or comments, and she responded with warmth. She didn't seem annoyed or distracted. The boy asked if she liked superheroes, and she laughed, sharing a small story about a comic book she used to read. The girl asked if she liked animals, and she spoke about a neighbor's dog she had helped once. Every answer was genuine, every laugh felt real, He felt an unusual peace watching her connect so effortlessly. As the date continued, he noticed how he could be himself around her. He didn't have to impress her with fancy stories or material achievements. He could talk about his love for simple things, reading, playing with his twins, or even just noticing the beauty of the world around him. Her reactions were authentic, showing interest in him as a person, not the persona he usually had to maintain. There was a small moment when the boy spilled some juice on the table. He expected stress or irritation, something to signal inconvenience. Instead, she laughed softly, helped clean it up, and made a joke about how the twins were secretly plotting to redecorate the tablecloth. The CEO found himself laughing harder than he had in a long time. That small moment, the simplicity of it, was more meaningful than any dinner party or high-end meeting he had ever attended. They talked about dreams and challenges, too. She shared her struggles at work, the little victories that made her proud and the disappointments she had overcome. He shared a few of his own challenges, carefully avoiding revealing his wealth or status. He spoke more about emotions, lessons, and personal growth. The conversation wasn't shallow. It had depth, humor, and honesty, and he realized he was genuinely enjoying this more than he thought he would. Time passed unnoticed. The sunlight outside shifted, and the cafe started to fill with afternoon visitors. But the small table in the corner felt like its own little world. They discussed books they loved, movies that moved them, and places they dreamed of visiting. The twins drew quietly in their sketch pads, occasionally showing her their pictures, and she complimented their creativity, making their faces light up with pride. At one point, she asked a question that made him pause. She wanted to know why he seemed different from other people she had met. He hesitated, thinking about how much to reveal. Instead, he smiled and said he liked observing the world and people, enjoying moments without rushing or judging. She nodded, understanding more than he expected, and the conversation moved on, but her curiosity lingered in the air. It was a subtle connection, the kind that didn't need grandeur or showmanship. The date ended with them walking outside, the twins holding his hand and hers laughing as she tried to keep up with their playful energy. They walked to the car, sharing small jokes and reflections on the afternoon. The CEO felt a mix of relief and anticipation. Relief that the date had gone well, and anticipation for what might come next. He had started the day with a plan, a test of character. But now he realized he might have found something unexpected. Someone who could see the real him, even without the wealth and success defining the first impression. As they drove back home, the twins chattered about their favorite parts of the date, from the pastries to the funny jokes she had made. The CEO smiled quietly, feeling a warmth in his chest he hadn't felt in years. He realized that sometimes the simplest moments, the honest laughter, and genuine connection could outweigh all the material achievements he had worked so hard for, and he knew, deep down, that this was just the beginning of something that could change everything. The next day started with the twins running around the apartment, full of energy and stories about the previous day's adventure. They could not stop talking about the woman and how much fun they had. Their excitement was contagious, and the CEO found himself smiling more than usual. He had spent years focused entirely on work, but the date and the twins' reaction had reminded him how much joy simple, real moments could bring. He checked his phone and saw a message from her. It was a small note thanking him for the previous day and mentioning how much he enjoyed meeting his twins. The CEO felt a small wave of relief and happiness. He replied briefly, keeping the tone light and friendly, just enough to maintain the connection without overdoing it. This was new territory for him, feeling nervous about someone he liked instead of just business decisions or meetings. The twins were eager to talk about the date again, asking questions about what she liked, what she would do next, and even imagining what games they might play together. The CEO listened, amused and touched by their curiosity. He realized that bringing them along had been the right decision. Their innocence and candidness had made the date feel more natural, more genuine. He hoped she had seen that too. Later in the day, he went about his usual routine, checking emails and attending meetings, but his mind kept wandering back to the date. He thought about the way she laughed, the way she genuinely engaged with his twins, and the small gestures that showed she cared about people around her. He had met many people in his life, but few had left such a lasting impression so quickly. He decided to call her and invite her out again, suggesting something simple, a walk in the park followed by ice cream. He wanted another chance to spend time with her in a relaxed setting, without any pressure or pretense. She agreed enthusiastically, which made him feel a mixture of excitement and nervousness. Planning a date with someone you genuinely like was different from arranging social appearances or business lunches. The following afternoon, they met at the park. The weather was mild, the sun filtering through the trees, creating a warm and calm atmosphere. The twins ran ahead, chasing each other and laughing, while he and she walked behind, talking about books, hobbies, and little moments that made life meaningful. He noticed how easy it was to talk to her, how natural their conversation flowed. It was not forced or rehearsed. It felt real. They sat on a bench watching the twins play near a fountain. She shared stories from her childhood, and he responded with some of his own experiences, keeping the conversation light but meaningful. They laughed at small memories and reflected on lessons learned over time. He was amazed at how she could listen and respond with empathy and insight, making him feel understood in ways he hadn't felt in years. At one point, the twins ran over to show her a flower they had picked. She crouched down to their level, examining it carefully, and praised their attention to detail. Her warmth and patience were striking. He realized that her kindness was not just for him, but was something she naturally extended to everyone around her. Watching her interact with the twins, he felt a deep sense of gratitude and admiration. They continued their walk, eventually finding a small ice cream stand. The woman insisted on paying, and he played along, appreciating her independence and thoughtfulness. They sat on a nearby bench, enjoying the ice cream and the quiet moment together. The conversation shifted to dreams and aspirations. She spoke about things she wanted to achieve, places she wanted to visit, and ways she hoped to make a difference in the lives of others. He listened attentively, impressed by her passion and determination. He shared some of his own goals, carefully keeping his status hidden, focusing on personal achievements and experiences that mattered to him beyond wealth. She responded with genuine interest, asking questions and offering insights. Their discussion was thoughtful and engaging, and he realized that he was learning from her perspective as much as she was from his. This exchange created a bond that felt real, grounded and meaningful. The twins, meanwhile, had started a playful water fight near the fountain, and she joined in, laughing and getting a little wet in the process. The CEO watched, smiling at her carefree attitude and the joy she brought to his children. He realized that she had an unusual ability to connect with people, to make moments memorable and lighthearted without effort. Her presence brought warmth and laughter, and he felt fortunate to be sharing this time with her. As the afternoon progressed, they walked back toward the car, stopping occasionally to admire flowers, watch birds, or engage in small conversations with other people in the park. He noticed how her presence seemed to make others around her feel comfortable and happy. It was a subtle quality, one that could not be faked, and he found himself drawn to it more and more. At one point, she paused to talk about a small community project she had volunteered for. She described the people she had helped, the challenges she faced, and the satisfaction of making a difference. He listened intently, impressed by her dedication and empathy. He realized that her kindness extended beyond personal interactions. It was a genuine part of who she was. This realization deepened his admiration and connection with her. The date concluded with a short drive home. The twins were exhausted but happy, chatting about the park, the ice cream, and the games they had played. He felt a sense of contentment, a rare feeling in his busy and often stressful life. The day had been simple, yet it had left a lasting impression on him. He realized that these ordinary moments, shared with someone authentic and kind, were far more meaningful than any luxury or status. Later that evening, he reflected on the date and the growing bond he felt. He knew that he wanted to continue seeing her, not just because she had treated him well, but because she had touched something deeper within him, a sense of joy, connection, and authenticity he had been missing for years. He made a mental note to keep the next date equally simple and genuine, focusing on shared experiences and laughter rather than appearances. He checked on his twins, who were already asleep, dreaming of the day's adventures. Their peaceful faces reminded him why he had brought them along. Their presence had added a layer of authenticity and warmth that no careful planning or charm could have achieved on its own. He felt grateful for their energy, insight, and the small, candid moments that had made the date special. Before going to bed, he sent a brief message to her, thanking her again for the day and expressing his hope to see her soon. Her reply was cheerful and warm, reinforcing the growing connection between them. He went to sleep that night with a sense of anticipation and contentment, looking forward to the next meeting and the moments they would share together. The bond that had started with a simple blind date was beginning to grow, slowly but surely, into something real and meaningful, rooted in honesty, kindness, and shared experiences. A week had passed since the walk in the park, and the CEO found himself thinking about her constantly. Even amidst his busy schedule of meetings, calls, and planning, his mind would wander to her laugh, the warmth of her presence, and the way she had connected with his twins. The memory of her genuine kindness and the effortless way she made everyone around her feel comfortable stayed with him throughout each day. He decided it was time to plan something special for their next meeting. He wanted it to be simple yet memorable, a chance for them to share a new experience together. He called her and suggested visiting a small local art fair in the city, a place with crafts, live music, and plenty of casual activities. She agreed immediately, her enthusiasm clear over the phone. The CEO felt a surge of anticipation, excited to see her again and experience something new together. On the day of the art fair, the twins were buzzing with excitement. They were eager to explore new booths, try handmade treats, and watch street performers. The CEO smiled at their energy and made sure they had everything they needed: water, snacks, and a camera to capture moments they found interesting. He had learned that bringing along his twins added a natural warmth and spontaneity to his interactions with her, creating a space where everyone could be themselves. They met her at the entrance of the fair. She greeted him and the twins with a cheerful smile, instantly setting a positive tone for the day. The twins ran ahead, marveling at the colorful displays, while he and she walked slowly behind, enjoying the chance to talk privately amidst the lively atmosphere. She wore a simple dress that moved gracefully with her, and her eyes sparkled with curiosity as she took in the sights and sounds around her. They started exploring the booths, admiring handmade jewelry, pottery, and paintings. She asked questions about the artists, listened to their stories, and showed genuine interest in their work. The CEO observed her closely, impressed by the care she gave to each person she spoke with. Her attention to detail and ability to make everyone feel valued reminded him once again why he felt drawn to her. It wasn't about appearances or status. It was about authenticity and empathy. The twins found a booth selling small figurines and immediately got involved in picking out their favorites. She knelt down to help them choose, giving them advice and making playful suggestions that made them giggle. The CEO felt a warmth in his chest, realizing how natural she was with children, and how much his twins had come to trust and enjoy her presence. There was no pretense, no judgment, just genuine connection. As they moved through the fair, a street musician began playing a soft tune on a guitar. She stopped to listen, closing her eyes briefly and letting the music wash over her. The CEO felt a pang of admiration, noticing the way she allowed herself to be fully present in the moment. He joined her, watching her reaction, and they shared a small smile, a silent acknowledgement of their shared enjoyment. The twins, meanwhile, had spotted a small game booth and dragged her over, insisting she participate. She laughed and agreed, showing no hesitation, and played the game with genuine enthusiasm. The children's excitement and her playful attitude created an atmosphere of joy and laughter. The CEO found himself laughing along, appreciating how easily she fit into his little world without trying or pretending. They took a break near a small fountain, enjoying lemonade and pastries from a nearby stand. She asked about his childhood, and he shared small stories about his own adventures, the lessons he had learned, and the people who had influenced him along the way. She listened intently, asking thoughtful questions and responding with insight. Their conversation deepened, moving beyond small talk to a more meaningful exchange of ideas and experiences. He felt a mix of admiration and nervousness, realizing he was developing strong feelings for her. This was new for him. In the past, relationships had often been influenced by external factors, but with her it was different. He could be himself, and she seemed to value him for who he truly was. The twins, sensing the positive energy, continued to engage happily, making the day even more enjoyable. As the afternoon progressed, they came across a booth where children could paint small ceramics. The twins eagerly joined, and she sat beside them, guiding their hands and offering encouragement. The CEO watched, touched by her patience and attentiveness. The way she interacted with the children reflected her character, caring, thoughtful, and completely genuine. A sudden rain shower sent everyone running for cover, and they found a small, sheltered area near the edge of the fair. The rain created a cozy atmosphere, and they continued their conversation, now closer together and more intimate. She shared personal stories about her challenges and how she overcame them, showing vulnerability in a way that deepened their connection. He responded with his own stories, carefully revealing more of himself while still keeping certain aspects private. This exchange created trust and understanding, reinforcing the bond that was forming between them. After the rain stopped, they continued exploring, eventually reaching a small stage where a local band was performing. They stood together enjoying the music, and he noticed the way she moved naturally to the rhythm, completely comfortable and unself-conscious. It reminded him how important it was to be genuine and present in each moment. He felt a growing admiration for her, not just for her kindness, but for her authenticity and ability to embrace life fully. As the fair began to wind down, they walked back toward the entrance, talking about their favorite moments of the day. The twins were tired but happy, recounting the games, the music, and the little discoveries they had made. She listened and engaged, showing interest in their excitement and validating their experiences. The CEO felt a deep sense of contentment, realizing that the day had been more meaningful than any he had spent in luxury or business settings. He drove them home, the twins chatting happily in the back seat, and she sat beside him, relaxed and smiling. The conversation continued, light and natural, discussing books, future plans, and small dreams. He felt a rare sense of ease, knowing that he could share his thoughts without judgment or pretense. The bond between them had grown stronger, built on shared experiences, laughter, and genuine connection. That evening, after the twins were asleep, he reflected on the day. He realized that each encounter with her was teaching him something new, not just about her, but about himself. He was learning to appreciate simplicity, authenticity, and the joy of shared experiences. The connection he felt was more meaningful than any material achievement or status, and he was grateful for the moments they had spent together. He sent her a brief message, thanking her for the wonderful day and expressing how much he enjoyed her company. Her reply was warm and enthusiastic, reinforcing the bond that had formed between them. As he prepared for bed, he felt a sense of anticipation for the next meeting, knowing that their relationship was unfolding naturally, rooted in honesty, kindness, and shared experiences. The connection with her and the way she embraced his twins had created a new chapter in his life, one filled with hope, joy, and genuine human connection. A few days later, the CEO sat at his kitchen table early in the morning, watching the twins play with their toys. Their laughter filled the apartment, and he smiled, remembering how much joy their presence had brought to his recent outings. Today was special. He had planned a little surprise for her, something he knew she would appreciate for its thoughtfulness rather than extravagance. He wanted to reveal a little more of his life carefully, without overwhelming her. He had arranged a small trip to a local historical site, a place filled with quiet beauty, gardens, and interesting stories from the past. He thought it would be a unique experience, a way to spend time together without the distractions of city life. He called her the day before to let her know about the outing, keeping the tone light and casual. She was excited, curious about what the day would bring, and he could hear the genuine enthusiasm in her voice. It was the kind of excitement he had not felt in a long time. On the day of the visit, the twins were once again ready with their energy and curiosity. He reminded them to be polite and thoughtful, and they nodded, eager to embark on the adventure. The drive to the site was quiet, filled with small conversations, playful questions, and occasional laughter. He glanced at her sitting beside him, her eyes bright with anticipation, and felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness. This was a moment to show her more of who he truly was, even without revealing everything yet. When they arrived, the site was serene, with paths winding through lush gardens and historical buildings that held centuries of stories. She immediately seemed drawn to the details, pausing to admire the architecture, the flowers, and the little touches that made the place special. The twins ran ahead, exploring with curiosity, while he and she walked slowly behind, discussing the history, art, and stories of the site. He found himself enjoying the conversation more than he had expected. It was easy, natural, and filled with moments of shared discovery. At one point, they stopped at a small pond watching the reflections of the trees in the water. She asked thoughtful questions about the history of the place, the people who had lived there, and the events that had shaped it. He answered with care, sharing the stories in a way that was engaging and vivid. The twins occasionally joined in, asking their own questions and making innocent observations that made both adults laugh. The atmosphere was light but meaningful, filled with curiosity and genuine interest. As they continued walking, they found a quiet spot under a large tree, perfect for a small picnic. He had packed simple sandwiches, fruits, and drinks, enough for everyone to enjoy without making it feel formal. They sat together, sharing food and stories, the conversation flowing effortlessly. She talked about her childhood, the little adventures she remembered, and the lessons she had learned. He listened, fascinated by her perspective and the depth of her observations. The twins shared their own stories, proud of the small accomplishments and discoveries they had made recently. She listened patiently, asking questions and complimenting their creativity and intelligence. The CEO felt a wave of gratitude and admiration. She had a rare ability to make everyone around her feel valued and heard. Watching her interact with his children reinforced the feeling that she could be a positive presence in their lives, someone who cared genuinely and sincerely. After the picnic, they walked further into the gardens, discovering hidden corners and small art installations. She pointed out details he had not noticed before, encouraging him to see the beauty in small things. The twins joined in, pointing out flowers, insects, and little animals they spotted along the way. The day felt timeless, a perfect blend of exploration, laughter, and connection. At one point, they came across a small exhibit about local artists. She seemed particularly interested, discussing the techniques, colors, and stories behind the works. He listened, impressed by her insight and the way she appreciated creativity. She asked questions about the artist's intentions and inspirations, showing a level of thoughtfulness and curiosity that he found both rare and captivating. He realized that her perspective was refreshing, offering a way to see the world differently and more fully. The twins found a small fountain nearby and began playing, splashing water and laughing. She joined them briefly, her laughter ringing clear and joyous. He watched, feeling a warmth in his chest, touched by her willingness to engage fully in the moment. It was a side of life he had often missed, simple, unguarded joy shared with others. Her presence made it easy to embrace these moments, and he cherished every second. As the afternoon progressed, they discovered a quiet walking path lined with trees. The sunlight filtered through the leaves, creating patterns on the ground. They walked together, the twins skipping ahead occasionally and then returning with new observations. The conversation turned deeper, discussing values, dreams, and small regrets. She shared moments of vulnerability, speaking openly about challenges she had faced and how she had grown from them. He responded with his own stories, carefully choosing what to share, revealing more of his true self without overwhelming her. At one point, she asked why he seemed different from others she had met, why he listened so attentively and engaged so sincerely. He hesitated, then smiled, explaining that he had learned the importance of genuine connection, the value of authenticity over appearances. She nodded, understanding more than words could express, and the silence between them felt comfortable and natural. It was a quiet acknowledgement of trust and mutual respect. The twins, sensing the calm and meaningful energy, continued to explore with curiosity, occasionally bringing small treasures they found along the path to show her. She praised their discoveries and encouraged their creativity, making them beam with pride. The CEO felt a deep sense of contentment, knowing that the day had created memories that would stay with all of them for a long time. As the visit came to an end, they walked back to the car, tired but happy. The twins chatted excitedly about their favorite moments, the flowers, the fountain, and the art exhibits. She laughed, engaging with their stories and sharing her own reflections. He drove them home, feeling a quiet joy that had nothing to do with work or wealth. The day had been simple yet profound, filled with shared experiences, laughter, and connection. Later that evening, after the twins were asleep, he reflected on the day and the growing bond he felt with her. He realized that each encounter revealed more about her character, her kindness, and her ability to embrace life fully. Her interactions with his twins, her curiosity, and her thoughtful nature had created a sense of trust and admiration. He felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness about revealing more of his life, knowing that honesty would be the next step in deepening their relationship. He sent her a brief message, thanking her for spending the day together and expressing how much he enjoyed her company. Her reply was warm and enthusiastic, reinforcing the connection they had built. As he prepared for bed, he felt anticipation for what was to come, knowing that their relationship was growing naturally, rooted in shared experiences, trust, and genuine human connection. The bond that had started with a blind date and the presence of his twins was now evolving into something deeper, filled with promise and the joy of discovering each other's true selves. A few days after their visit to the historical site, the CEO felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness. He had been planning carefully, thinking about how and when to reveal the truth about his life to her. He knew that she valued honesty and authenticity above all else, and he wanted to make sure the revelation felt genuine, not forced. The twins were again part of the plan, as their presence had helped bring joy and ease to every meeting. He called her and invited her to a small, intimate dinner, making sure the setting was cozy and welcoming. He didn't want an extravagant location. He wanted a place that felt personal, where they could talk and be themselves. She agreed, her tone light and cheerful, and he felt his heart race at the thought of seeing her again. This dinner would be the moment to let her see more of who he truly was, beyond the pretense he had maintained in the earlier dates. On the day of the dinner, the twins were buzzing with excitement, helping him with small tasks, curious about the surprise. They were already fond of her, and he knew their presence would help make the evening relaxed and natural. The drive to the restaurant was filled with small conversation, laughter, and the occasional joke. He watched her in the rearview mirror, noticing how comfortable she had become around him and his children. When they arrived, the setting was warm and inviting, with soft lighting and quiet music in the background. He had arranged for a private area where they could enjoy the evening without interruptions. She smiled as they walked in, appreciating the thoughtful arrangement, and he felt a wave of relief. The environment was perfect for the conversation he had been preparing for. The evening began with casual conversation, sharing stories about their week, small accomplishments, and funny incidents. The twins, as always, brought laughter and lighthearted moments, playing with a few quiet games at the table. She engaged with them effortlessly, her warmth and kindness evident in every interaction. The CEO watched, feeling a growing admiration and gratitude for her ability to connect with the children and make the evening enjoyable. As the main course arrived, he felt it was the right moment to begin revealing more about himself. He spoke gently, sharing his experiences, personal challenges, and values. He carefully led the conversation, emphasizing his life lessons and principles rather than focusing on wealth or status. She listened attentively, her eyes reflecting interest and understanding. There was a moment of silence, comfortable and respectful, as she processed his words. Finally, he revealed the truth about his career and success. He explained his reasons for pretending to be ordinary during their initial meetings, emphasizing his desire to see genuine reactions and connect on a personal level. She looked at him with surprise, a mixture of curiosity and disbelief. He waited, nervous for her reaction, hoping she would understand the intentions behind his actions. Her response was remarkable. Instead of being impressed or overwhelmed by his wealth, she appreciated his honesty and the courage it took to share this side of himself. She acknowledged that the earlier dates had been meaningful not because of status, but because of the way he engaged with her and the twins. Her reaction was genuine, thoughtful, and kind, reinforcing the trust and connection they had built. The rest of the evening flowed naturally. They continued to talk, laugh, and share stories, the atmosphere relaxed and warm. The twins, sensing the positive energy, continued to interact happily, showing their approval of the growing bond between them. The CEO felt a deep sense of relief and joy, realizing that the foundation of their relationship was stronger than he had ever hoped. After dinner, they took a short walk outside, the night air calm and refreshing. The conversation turned to dreams, future plans, and hopes for their relationship. She shared her vision of a life filled with meaningful connections, shared experiences, and kindness. He spoke about his own aspirations, emphasizing the importance of family, authenticity, and joy. The discussion was heartfelt, reflective, and filled with mutual understanding. They returned home, the twins already sleepy but content from the evening's adventures. He watched her interact with them, helping them settle down and sharing small moments of care and affection. He felt a profound sense of gratitude, realizing that she had seamlessly become a part of their lives. Her presence had brought joy, warmth, and understanding, creating a bond that extended beyond just the two of them. In the following days, their relationship continued to grow. They spent time together in simple, meaningful ways, playing games, exploring new places, sharing meals, and discussing their dreams. The CEO learned to appreciate the small moments, the everyday interactions, and the laughter shared with someone who truly understood him. The twins thrived in this environment, feeling loved, valued, and secure. One afternoon, they visited a nearby park for a casual outing. The twins ran ahead, laughing and exploring, while he and she walked hand in hand, talking quietly about their week and sharing thoughts about the future. He noticed the ease and comfort in their interactions, the way she listened and responded with genuine care. Her empathy, kindness, and authenticity continued to impress him, reinforcing his feelings and commitment. Over time, he realized that the journey they had embarked on was about more than love or companionship. It was about discovering the value of authenticity, the importance of connection, and the joy of shared experiences. He learned to let go of pretenses, embrace vulnerability, and appreciate the simple pleasures of life. Her influence had brought a new perspective, one that emphasized the significance of genuine relationships over material success. The twins, now completely comfortable with her, often shared stories of their adventures and playful moments, and she engaged with them with patience and warmth. The bond between the three children and her deepened, creating a family-like dynamic that brought comfort and joy to everyone involved. The CEO felt a profound sense of fulfillment, realizing that the relationship he had built was rooted in trust, love, and authenticity. Eventually, he decided to introduce her fully to his life, sharing more about his work, routines, and personal experiences. She responded with curiosity, understanding, and support, reinforcing the foundation of their relationship. Together, they navigated challenges, celebrated successes, and created memories that would last a lifetime. The journey that began with a blind date and the playful involvement of his twins had transformed into a meaningful, authentic partnership. The story concluded with a sense of hope and warmth. The CEO had discovered that true connection was not defined by wealth or status, but by honesty, kindness, and shared experiences. She had become a central part of his life, bringing joy, understanding, and love. Their bond, strengthened by the presence of his twins and the authenticity of their interactions, created a lasting, meaningful relationship. The journey showed that love and connection thrive when people reveal their true selves and embrace the simple, genuine moments that life offers. Months passed since the CEO had revealed his true life to her, and their relationship had grown stronger with each passing day. What had started as a simple blind date, intended to test authenticity, had blossomed into something genuine, filled with laughter, shared experiences, and trust. The twins had become fully comfortable with her, treating her not just as a friend of their father, but as someone who belonged in their lives. Their bond had deepened in ways that were unexpected but profoundly fulfilling. He found joy in the ordinary moments, breakfasts together, walks in the park, and quiet evenings at home. These moments, simple as they were, carried immense meaning. She had a way of bringing light into the everyday, turning mundane activities into memories worth cherishing. Watching her interact with the twins, seeing the patience and care she showed, and noticing her natural warmth toward everyone around her, he felt a sense of peace he had never experienced before. One weekend, he decided to organize a small day trip to the countryside. The idea was to escape the city for a few hours to enjoy fresh air, nature, and the simplicity of rural life. He invited her and the twins, packing a picnic and bringing along small activities for them to enjoy. The drive was filled with music, playful chatter, and the twins asking endless questions about the scenery passing by. She laughed at their curiosity, encouraging them and adding her own observations. The CEO felt a quiet happiness, grateful for her presence and the joy she brought into their lives. When they arrived, the landscape was serene, rolling hills, open fields, and a small lake shimmering under the afternoon sun. The twins ran ahead, exploring freely, while he and she walked together, taking in the beauty and discussing their dreams and hopes. He felt comfortable opening up more about himself, sharing thoughts and feelings he had rarely expressed to anyone. She listened attentively, offering her perspective and support. Their conversation flowed effortlessly, deepening their connection in a natural and unforced way. They spread a blanket near the lake and unpacked the picnic. The twins eagerly dug into the food, laughing and teasing each other about who got the bigger sandwich. She joined in, making playful comments and engaging in small games with them. He watched, feeling a profound sense of gratitude and admiration. Her ability to make everyone feel included and valued was remarkable, and he realized that her presence had transformed his life in ways he hadn't anticipated. After the meal, they explored the surrounding area. The twins found a small cluster of wildflowers and excitedly showed them to her, asking questions about the different colors and shapes. She knelt down, examining each flower with genuine curiosity and delight, encouraging their enthusiasm and nurturing their sense of wonder. He felt a surge of affection for her, admiring the way she could connect with people of all ages, and how naturally she embraced life's simple pleasures. As the sun began to lower, casting a golden hue over the fields, they sat together by the lake. The twins skipped stones, trying to see who could make the biggest splash, while he and she spoke quietly about the future. They discussed goals, dreams, and the small steps they could take to achieve them. Her insights were thoughtful, compassionate, and often challenged him to see things from new perspectives. He appreciated the way she balanced honesty with encouragement, offering guidance without pressure or judgment. The day continued with laughter and storytelling. She shared anecdotes from her past, including moments of hardship and triumph, which helped him see her resilience and strength. He reciprocated, recounting experiences that shaped who he was, including mistakes and lessons learned. The twins occasionally interrupted with their own stories and observations, which made them all laugh. These moments, simple yet meaningful, reinforced the bond they shared as a new blended family. As evening approached, they packed up and began the drive home. The twins were quiet, exhausted from the day's adventures but content. She sat beside him, holding his hand and sharing quiet reflections on the day. He felt a deep connection, a sense of intimacy that went beyond romantic attraction. It was built on trust, shared experiences, and genuine understanding. Back home, the routine continued, but with a renewed sense of joy and stability. The twins thrived in this environment, confident and happy, while he and she nurtured their relationship with small acts of kindness, humor, and shared responsibility. They discovered a rhythm that balanced love, work, and family life, creating a supportive and nurturing atmosphere. Over the next few months, they faced challenges like any other family. Work pressures, school events for the twins, and unexpected situations tested their patience and communication skills. But each challenge strengthened their bond. They learned to navigate disagreements with respect, support each other's goals, and maintain open and honest communication. The foundation of trust they had built during the early dates proved invaluable, allowing them to face difficulties without fear or resentment. They continued to create memories through travel, simple outings, and spontaneous adventures. The twins often led the way, finding joy in small discoveries and encouraging all of them to embrace life fully. She became an integral part of their lives, not just as a partner, but as someone who enriched every moment with care, insight, and warmth. He reflected often on how the journey began, with a blind date, a pretense and the presence of his twins, and marveled at how far it had come. What started as a test of authenticity had grown into genuine love, respect, and mutual support. She had seen through the pretense and embraced the real him, and he had come to cherish her not just for her kindness, but for the way she enriched their shared lives. One evening, as they watched the twins play in the living room, he felt a profound sense of gratitude. He realized that true happiness was not in wealth or status, but in connection, understanding, and shared experiences. Her presence had transformed his life, making ordinary moments extraordinary, and giving him a sense of fulfillment he had never known before. The story concluded with a sense of hope, warmth, and completeness. The CEO had discovered that love and connection thrive when people are authentic, open, and compassionate. She'd become a central figure in their lives, bringing joy, understanding and love to him and his twins. Their journey, which began with a playful blind date, had grown into a meaningful, lasting relationship, demonstrating that genuine connection is the most valuable treasure of all.